This is a super infused gold coin. But symbolically, what if gold's upside was this close? Stick around. Welcome to Silver Heist. Thank you to our returning subscribers and guests. We are a channel that likes to hold physical gold and silver. To support my creation, please subscribe. Most of us can agree on owning physical gold and physical silver. Some of us may have been preserving our wealth with metals for a decade, some for a few years, and some might have even started in 2021. So while coin designs can feature first ever, such as first ever super infused coins, when it comes to bullion and gold and silver, more likely than not, history repeats itself. So while I think most of us are really in it for the long haul, we're certainly not day traders. The point of holding our metals most likely is for many, many years, but I think we want to know if the general broad trends are in our favor. And so it's really just confirmation that if there is a resource cycle, heck, I'd probably rather be on the upswing of the resource cycle than the downside of the cycle, although I'm holding for the long term. So I certainly watch other people's videos and maybe even watch something like Kitco or something that just see what other people are doing with respect to trends and purchases and what's new in the metals world. So if I can hear from an expert or an expert amongst my peers, then that's someone that I want to hear from. So I recently had the opportunity to speak to someone who's not only made a significant investment just a couple of few years ago, but this year. So I want to thank Blue Lagoon Resources, the sponsor of this video, for making their CEO, Rana Vig, available for some questions. So the questions that I asked were determined by me, questions that I was curious about, such as where does he see the broad trends in the gold and commodities markets, but how close is his gold exploration company to minting gold? So this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before investing in any gold or silver bullion or any equities. We are pleased today to be joined by Mr. Rana Vig. He is the president and CEO of Blue Lagoon Resources. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Mr. Vig, your junior miner company is in a unique position to not only explore, but to bring some gold production to the market this year. And we're going to cover your operations soon. But what's your outlook for gold this calendar year, and are you excited about your timing?
I'm super excited about it. I saw this coming back in 2019 when I first decided to launch this company and with a gold focus, because with all the money around the world that was being printed and with all the deficit, the debt, the government, and then of course on top of that the pandemic, which of course no one could have predicted. All those things are just the perfect scenario. This trifactor for this for the gold and silver environment, and some other commodities, even copper. So yeah, no, I'm very excited about this commodity super cycle that we're just, I believe, just entering the beginning of.
Besides gold, what other precious metals, base metals, or other commodities do you see doing well this year?
Well, silver, they're saying that potentially is going to do even better than gold. So, like silver a lot, and of course, there's generally a correlation to gold and silver. So, I think both of those are going to do extremely well here in the upcoming months and years. And copper is doing extremely well. It's hitting new highs, and of course, with this whole movement of this electric movement, an electric car takes more than 4 times more copper than a regular car. To manufacture. So that's obviously driving a big demand curve there. And then infrastructure, right? Biden just recently announced, of course, that they're going to spend billions and billions on infrastructure, and that's just one country, right? This is happening all over the world, and copper is required for infrastructure, and there's a supply squeeze. It takes more than 10 years to put a copper mine into production. And hundreds of millions of dollars. So there hasn't been a lot of big discoveries. So that's going to be a very important play here, a commodity here in the next few years to come.
You bought your property after the previous owner had spent years and years and millions of dollars exploring, Can you tell us a story of the men who stopped 3 feet from gold?
Yeah, it literally is that way. Well, what happened was these are wonderful people, but they ran out of time. They're 83 years old and not in the best of health. So along I came. They were offered a lot of money for this a number of years ago, and they didn't sell out at that time. And I came along, and we struck a deal. They spent $28 million just in the last dozen years. I was able to do an all share deal with them at the highest price. This is pre. Pandemic that we were at the highest share value of our company. So we struck a deal, all share. It was an incredible deal, for us. And, we're very bullish on it. They literally needed only $2 million to put this into production. Can you believe it? And we've deployed that 2 million now. We've got there was only 3 amendments that were required. We've done 2 of them, and just to finishing up the final one, we expect to have everything to the ministry by end of August, and just go through the process and wait to get this thing into production.
What's the first piece of gold that's going to find its way to a mill?
Well, it's interesting you said that. In fact, we just news released it yesterday. We have over 6,000 tons of mineralized material that's sitting in the mine currently that was never taken out. It's just been sitting there for years. So we finally got the permission to take that out. We've secured our trucking contracts. We sent out a sort of a dry run last month just to get the roots and everything. I'm a very methodical CEO. I want to get everything right. And so we sent that out, and we got that happening. And in about 2 weeks, or if not sooner, we're just waiting for the final snows to melt, and it's a gravel road. A certain portion of it is gravel road, and we just want to get all that, make sure that it's all nice and dry. And within 2 weeks, the trucks will start rolling and take that mineralized material out to the mill. And I fully expect to pour, and I'm very excited about this. Pour our first ounce or a bar here, probably sometime in August. From that material.
I'd like to see the bar in August, so let's talk in August.
All right, sounds good.
And then what's next?
The key is that the actual production is very nice, but it's the smallest part of our story, right? The big part is really the exploration. And the beauty of the fact is that when we get it into production, we can take that cash and then redeploy it back into the ground, because we have this massive property that has never been explored, and it's it's highly prospective. The data supports that. So we have this incredible ability to take that money without further dilution to our current and shareholders who are about to become come in. Without any further dilution, we can explore. That's very rare in our industry.
The previous owners brought a mine shaft up to one resource. Do you know enough about that resource from your previous drilling efforts, or do you need to learn more about your next steps?
Yeah, no, there's lots of data. Currently, we have a nice little starter resource of a couple 100,000 ounces of inferred and indicated categories. By the way, there's also a lot of silver. We have about 1 million ounces of silver currently in those categories. So, but there was drilling done in 2016. 800 meters west of to where our main sort of vein is right now. And the only reason that isn't in any kind of category is because there was not enough drilling done. But we have all the data, so we know it's all mineralized. So that's the low-hanging fruit. We just have to go in there and drill that out, and we can easily double, triple our resource. And also to depth. This resource was never really drilled deep. It was only drilled 170, 180, 190 meters. But we went down to 338 meters and hit almost 18 grams of gold and nearly 70 grams of silver a ton, right? So we know we can go to the west, we can go deep, and then we also drilled to the east, which was very exciting, and that was all mineralized. And there's lots of data that is leading us. That's why we're very excited. Listen, it's rare when you have a project or something that you're working on that you literally want to leap out of bed every morning. And all of us are that excited about it, because we feel that there's enough data, and because we're in the beginning of this super cycle of the gold and silver and commodity super cycle, we just think their timing is just perfect.
How are you going to produce shareholder value this year?
Well, look, there's a number of things that we're going to do to increase shareholder value this year, right? We've got the amendments that are nearly complete. That's a game changer, because that's going to help us make a production decision and get this thing into production. We've got the trucks that I just talked about that are going to start rolling here shortly. That's going to do two things. That's going to, number one, tell the market that, we're doing everything that we're saying. That's one of the, things that I always hate. I'm invested in a lot of companies, and I dislike this, that the fact that, they'll say something, then they don't execute on it. Well, I'm all about execution. So we've been talking about this for several months, that we're going to have these trucks rolling within the next few days. We're going to see that, rolling. That's going to show the market that we're executing on everything that we're saying. Plus, it's going to bring more cash, back into the treasury, which is always nice. And then we got this 19,000 hectares. We announced a 20,000 meter drill program. That's really how you increase shareholder value in the exploration, business, in our business, by drilling more and showing that we are about to find more than what we have currently. So, we announced a 20,000 meter drill program back in January. We did about 7,700 meters of that. Next week, we're going to finish off the balance of that, which is about 13,000 meters. So, so far we've had no surprises, touch wood. They've been very, very good grades. We've been hitting very nicely. And fingers crossed, we expect that hopefully we'll keep showing some similar results.
You made an investment in gold earlier this year and an investment in yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that if I expect shareholders to come in and for the ride with me, that I better be vested myself. I don't like it when CEOs and management don't have any skin in the game. So I recently added another 1 million shares to my personal position. That takes me to about 5% of the company now, roughly. Myself and my family and a handful of my 5 or 6 of my closest friends, we put $2.2 million into this company at much higher values. Pre-pandemic, our stock was much better, as many other companies, were. And, but, we're not any fussed about it because, we got a long ways to go. We're just beginning. The most exciting part of any exploration company is when what they call the discovery curve. So just as we're just about to enter that discovery curve, as we're drilling, as we're about to make the decision to get into production. And that's why we're very, very bullish on it. And that's why I'm personally have written checks into this company to make sure that I'm aligned with the shareholders.
So what would make a successful 2021 for Blue Lagoon?
Well, I think two things. Number one, get to that point where we've finished all the amendments and we're ready to make a production decision. Right, that's going to be a huge game changer, since it's going to allow us to bring cash in and cash flow. That's number one. And number two, this property is so prospective. It had never been really looked at. The previous owners only focused on that tiny little area, which is really less than 10% of the whole property. So what'll make us successful is on the second point is to deploy more capital and drill. We have so many different targets. We flew the first ever airborne survey on this property, and the whole property is lit up. I mean, it was amazing. Everybody was scratching their head thinking, how can this be? But you know what? That's the secret. This is one of those under the radar, properties. And we were the fortunate ones that we came along, and the airborne survey has identified many targets, and we are about to start drilling, on those. And we hope we'll see. We hope to hit. That's exploration.
Anything else you'd like to add?
3 key points. Number one, we're fully permitted. In British Columbia, it takes 20 years to get a permit. The average is 14. So we have a very, very valuable, literally gold in our hands with that permit. And number two, we have still over $2 million in our treasury. We have no debt, and we have $5 million in the money warrants, that are starting to come in. So our balance sheet is very healthy. And we believe that we're undervalued, and we have a huge amount of blue sky and upside, and which is what makes exploration exciting.
I'll be excited to see your first gold bar, so we'll be looking forward to talking to you in the future. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
If you'd like to learn more about Blue Lagoon Resources, I have a link to their website in the description. Their ticker symbol on the Canadian Ventures Exchange is BLLG, and in the US as BLAGF. Thanks for watching.